Welcome to the Real Female Entrepreneurs. Today's guest is about to help you tackle one of the biggest business challenges women face. And no, it's not marketing, sales, or social media, it's communication. Because the truth is, opportunities are often won or lost based on what we say, how we say it, and whether we have the confidence to speak up, even in the first place. She's a keynote speaker, communication expert, and TEDx coach who helps professionals communicate with clarity, confidence, and impact. Please help me welcome the amazing, the dynamic, and insightful Karen Laos. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Angel. Wow, that was a wonderful and beautiful intro. I'm ready.
You're amazing.
Well, thank you. So are you.
Oh, this is going to be a laugh fest. I need to know right from the beginning. Okay. Tell me about your company and what exactly you do, and then what sparked it to make it all happen anyway. I mean, you just didn't wake up one morning and go, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a speaker.
Well, ever since high school, I've loved speaking. Seriously. I'm one of those weird ones that loves an audience. So I honed the craft of speaking in my corporate life. But I was in a boardroom once about to present something and I couldn't get the words out. I was completely tongue-tied in spite of being on the senior leadership team and commanding stages at Google, Netflix, and Facebook, and a lot of big companies. My boss shut down the meeting because it was so bad. And she pulled me aside after. I was so embarrassed, Angel. She pulled me aside after and she goes, Karen, you didn't trust your gut. You could have just tabled the meeting. And in one moment, I thought of two things. One, why do I keep asking for permission? And why? Wait, what? I could have tabled the meeting? I mean, those are things that as a kid, I was taught that you don't question your boss. You just figure it out. And so I should have spoken up months prior, but I never did. I thought I would just figure it out. But when it really came down to it, because I didn't agree with what she suggested I present. And so in that moment, I realized this is never going to happen again. I am going to figure out the root of my problem. And I realized I had been in a prison of my own making. And we all have agency and choice to decide how we want to show up and if we want to speak up and all the things. So that was the catalyst to years later then quit my job and start my own business on speaking, specifically helping women, because my whole career has been helping people speak with confidence and clarity through their delivery as well as the content. And I realized it's a skill. Like anybody can learn it. It's not that I'm particularly special related to the skill. But what I realized is that I didn't want to just help people with their external confidence. I wanted to help them with the inside. And that is why I realized I'm going to be on a mission now, specifically helping women. So I decided in 2020, when I left my corporate job, that I'm going to reach 10 million women to overcome self-doubt and speak with confidence instead. And we're about 5 million in, and it's going to culminate with a celebration on the Chase Center stage in San Francisco in 2030. I'm hosting my own event there, and I just hired the event planner for that event.
And I'm going to be there.
Yay! I'm so excited. So that's the goal. And so what I do specifically is speak on stages, primarily at women's conferences, but I also do occasional executive coaching, not as much anymore. It's more of, I have a handful of clients every year, but it's really about helping any person be equipped to know what to say and how to say it. Just like you said when you introduced me around the opportunities. We all have opportunities, but sometimes we miss them because we don't ask for what we want, or we feel like I don't want to bother people, or we second guess ourselves, imposter syndrome, fear of judgment, the list goes on.
So we could actually be so much further if we would just take those initial steps just to do what we want. And like, if it's our heart, like I asked you where you actually live and you told me, do you mind telling our audience that story about you live where and why?
I live in San Francisco, and I'm originally from Minneapolis. As a kid, when I was 16 years old, I remember writing in my diary, I can't wait to move to San Francisco. So I packed up my bags, fast forward to after college, after being in a performing group. I threw a bunch of stuff in the trunk of my car in the summer of 1994, drove out here, and I never left.
And
So
now
that's
you overlook what?
now I overlook. Yeah, I always also had a dream to have an expansive view. So now I technically live across the bay in the Oakland Hills, and I oversee the bay, and I can see the Oakland airport as well as San Francisco airport. And it is absolutely a stunning view. And I will say, to me, it is very much a testimony to going for what you want and figuring out a way to do it, because I had the vision. I didn't know the how. I didn't have a timeline because I just trusted that at the right time it would happen. And 26 years later, it happened. And I can still remember, even it was 1991 that I went in this performing group. I was in a host family in Tucson, Arizona. And I grew up very middle class, very frugal family. Everything was just scraps and scrimps and things. And I was sitting on my host family's brick wall in the backyard at night. They were in a wealthy part of Tucson. You could see all of the lights of the city. And when it's so hot, they twinkle even more. You know how that tends to happen? And I remember thinking, I would love a view. Like, it wasn't even in my reality at 20, whatever I was, 20 something. And that solidified, oh, I want something like this. And then a few years later, I remember when I moved to San Francisco, I went to a party at somebody's house in Twin Peaks and saw the view again, and it felt so out of reach. And to think now I have this house with floor to ceiling windows, and it's very emotional for me because I've been here 4 years now, but I feel so grateful to be in this space. And when you live in the same place for 27 years and it's a 600 square foot apartment, you really appreciate, especially then when my husband moved in, and for 8 years we shared that place. And it is so fun to be here now. So we're very, very, very happy.
It's such a gorgeous view. You're going to show them the view after.
Okay.
You're gonna span the computer around, and
All right.
because it's absolutely gorgeous. So everything that you've learned, that 18-year-old stuff, I don't even think we need to go back to writing yourself a letter. But if you could write yourself a letter and go back to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell her? I think we're going to make you cry even more, but that's okay.
I know, like it's happening already. It's why I wrote the book, Trust Your Own Voice, because for too many years I listened to everybody else, thinking everybody else knew better than me. I was taught that you have to look for permission from authorities, and usually that's a man. And to go back to my younger self, I would truly say you can trust yourself. And if I were to add another one, it would be you're good enough, like more than good enough. And our friend Christine is the one that just recently said this, that you belong in every room. Like, I wish that I wish I had written down when I was 18, I belong in every room. So,
and you know what? Here's the thing. Everybody, every woman who listens to this belongs in every room, because they have a story that can touch somebody's heart.
yes, agreed.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about a game changer. Like, you've been in business for a while, all right? And you've seen other women in business. What is something that you've seen, a decision, a habit, or a strategy that they've used that actually changed their business?
Can this be mine or someone else's?
It can be anybody's you want, and you can give me 2 or 3. It doesn't.
One of the things I'll share is that I underestimated this skill in myself that is natural. And I realized, you know how you probably, I'm not probably, you, I'm sure, have the exact same thing. And anybody listening to us, we all have these strengths that are innate that we don't even realize are so powerful. So ever since I was a kid, I have been told that people feel comfortable around me. I get a lot of comments like, oh my gosh, I'm telling you all this, or I feel so comfortable around you. I always thought that was nice, but I never thought about it as a business asset or something to actually leverage. And now, of course, there's a term for it called psychological safety. And what now I have gotten really good at over the years is saying that for whether it's a client, whether it's somebody who's considering working with me, it's the example of so many people say they really enjoy my practical tips, but it's the part about me personally caring deeply for people that really makes them feel seen and heard and safe. And that is a big thing that builds trust that then leads to, oh, I'm going to go ahead and use her skills and feel really good about it at the same time. So it's that combination of the tactical skills and strategies that I teach, along with my way of being that makes people feel a certain way. And they really like that. So I think it's a good example for all of us to think about what are the positive traits that you have that you might not even realize you have. And sometimes it's getting feedback from others to give you more clarity in that. And then our job is to own them.
Well, I need to thank you for the simple reason that doing what I do, I never realized I create a safe space for people, and I do.
You do.
I
I
know.
loved
And
you by text.
I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, so I never realized that I do that until you said that. You said, oh, you do too. And I was like, how does she know what I do?
It's one of those things most of us don't think about. But like, I was really excited to have this conversation. And not because well, there's a lot of reasons why, but let's just say, I just want to, there's one thing for any of us, whether we're going to a job, having a client, something, it's such a different experience. You know what? I'm going to divert, because this is the same example on my flight home from New Orleans. It was the tale of two flight attendants. This is such a great example, because it can be the same situation, two different personalities, and you have a completely different experience. Because the first one, it would be things like tray table down or tray table up. Where's your trash? It was very just da 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 da, and kind of facial expression flat. And then we have the other one who's dancing. All right, who has their luggage? Let me help it up. And so hilarious. And I just said, you are now my favorite flight attendant. And it was this example of she's still abiding by the rules that have to be abided by the airplane, but completely different experience. And so much of that is personality driven, but it's also a choice that we can make of how we want to show up in the world, because it's really being intentional about how we want people to feel in our presence.
So recently, my mother passed away, and we were looking at pictures, and they had one picture, well, all pictures, all, not one, all pictures of me. My arms were folded.
Really?
And I was like this, miserable.
Wow.
Okay. My brother looked at me and he says, boy, you were a bundle of joy, weren't you? So there's lots of other stories that go along with it, but my mother allowed us one summer, me and two friends, to actually paint my whole entire room with smiley faces and lips to remind me to smile.
Really?
Yes. It stayed there until they sold the place, to be honest with you. Okay. And thank God my brother bought it and he painted over it really quick.
Wow.
So, so I had to make a choice. even at a young age. I mean, it was like probably seventh, eighth grade when we did the smiley faces and stuff, seventh grade. And for me to actually not be that very hard, stern person and become more of the, hey, let's dance to make this happen and have some fun type girl. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that is so fascinating.
So I love the fact that it's personality, but it's also a choice.
Yes, yes,
So I don't think
absolutely.
I'd be the person I am today if I didn't make that choice. My mother didn't make that choice in my life, and then I made the choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
It's so interesting, isn't it? That we can all choose
mhm.
to show up how we want to.
Yep.
It's habits. And that's another thing too, just the same thing that I teach in communication is that these are habits that can be shifted. But a lot of times we let them define us. Like you might have said, "Oh, that's just who I am," and not taken the opportunity to make some changes, but you chose differently.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's talk about no filter conversation. You're dealing with entrepreneurs and business owners and women all the time. What do you wish, thought pattern wise, they would kick to the curb about entrepreneurship?
It's really about the voices in their heads that tell them they're not good enough, tell them that they aren't belonging in the room, that there's the imposter syndrome. There's so many things. And I have a tip for how to help with that. And it's thinking about most women have some version of I'm not good enough.
Mm, mhm.
And I love this exercise that I call it the Broadway musical exercise. So usually when we say, like you even heard me just a moment ago when I said I'm not good enough, it is low energy. It's not an exciting thing to be happy about.
Mhm.
And yet, if we play with our brains from a neural pathway perspective and shift up the message of that same wording and we sing it like a Broadway musical, I'm not good enough. Suddenly, there's a completely different feeling about that same message. And while this isn't something that I would say, is a long term, immediate, long term over time, I understand that moving past the self doubt to where you're not letting that hold you back any longer is a journey for sure. But there's also some tips that we can employ very quickly, like that, and shift up the meaning to our brains. So that is one I'd recommend anybody try. Maybe in the car or in the shower, sing that same message of doubt to help get past it. But that's what I would kick to the curb. In my business, that is definitely the villain that we are against.
Okay, what an amazing tip. Sing that doubt you have in your brain, sing it to where it's happy, not sad music.
Exactly. And I do think that it's another thing to acknowledge that those voices that continue persisting, it's that whole concept, what we resist persists. So remembering that sometimes it's also a matter of just acknowledging that. So that's one technique, obviously, that can be great. And then another one is simply to say, I see you, I hear you, I love you, and I've got this. You can sit to the side now because I've got this. Because usually our ego is trying to keep us safe. So if we recognize that voice as a voice that's just trying to keep us safe and we acknowledge it, it's easier to move on.
Okay, I need you to say that one more time. You said for it to sit, correct?
Yeah. So the first step is to acknowledge it because it's
Great.
that whole what we resist persists. So if the voice keeps saying, who do you think you are to be asking for this? Da da da. Da. Who do you think? Whatever it is, you're not good enough. Da da da. So it's simply taking a moment and you can say it out loud or you can say it in your head. I see you. I acknowledge you. I love you. I know you're just trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. I am good enough. I am going to ask for this more money for this client or whatever it is. So the key is the acknowledgement. The words, I'm just sharing some words that I've found can be helpful, but it's really more about giving space. It's just like grief. Most of us don't acknowledge the grief that exists in day-to-day life. We don't acknowledge our losses. So if we can even make a statement of saying, wow, that didn't go as I had planned, and I'm sad about that. And I want to acknowledge that so I can move on and open up to other things that are coming.
Wow. I love that. I mean, that's just a simple little process to do to get the junk and tell it to go away.
Yeah, it goes back to telling your ego who's boss, because again, it's that whole ego is trying to keep us safe. So we need to acknowledge that and let our higher self run the show.
So, talking about running the show, how do you balance, if you believe in balance, your show, your family, your friends, your businesses, speaking? How do you balance it?
I integrate it. That's the way I look at it. So, for example, my priority is, well, okay, I should say, I was going to say my priority is speaking engagements and traveling, but my priority is definitely my husband. I would give an example of the past 5 years were really some of the most excruciating years of my life, walking through my husband's kidney journey, because the same within months of me quitting my job and starting my business, he lost the ability to use his kidneys. So they completely failed. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? So he hasn't worked for 6 years. He got the transplant a year ago, April 6th. So and I thought, like, this is going to finally, like, you keep praying and hoping and expecting. And then suddenly you get, like, he got the transplant and it's so great, but it took quite some time for that to acclimate, more than I thought. And yet those were the least of the problems that we had. The years before were really, really challenging it's one of these moments like, honey, do I need to call 911 right now? Or can I get back on this call? Or are you going to pass out for real? Or do you think this will literally pass and you're going to be okay till I get off with this call? So very, very, just lots of challenges. So I think about that. And I will say that I got so much, because I was very public about this and still am, about the kidney updates. And people are, again, like any of us, we're just doing our thing, right? We don't often think about what is a standout to others or what might be an example to others. But our journey was so recognized for how positive and energetic I could still remain, in spite of how challenging it was, with him on all the machines and, on dialysis hours and hours, 5 times a week, and yet still needing to make a living and all the things. So I would say it's my positivity and my faith and the hope, not just that we had, my husband and me, but the hope through our community, primarily through our church. And we wrote a book, or we're in a book called Unshakable. And our story is about hope through community. And so we share the perspective from each of us, because I was in my rental car in San Diego about to step into a speaking engagement when I got the call from him that he said the doctor said his kidneys were failing. And I just was like, what? He goes, honey, I don't know what this means, but I have to go on dialysis. And I was like, no, you don't. We're going to pray this out of you. I believe in miracles. And walked into that event just kind of shaken, but kind of numb, like, oh no, that's not us. And then then you're faced with the reality of what that means, and boxes and boxes of IV fluid completely filling up our living room. And my house just felt like and this was the small apartment, by the way, where our house was packed, and it felt like a hospital, hospital room. Wow. So kind of crazy. And I know I'm diverting a little bit, but
no, you're not. You're not diverting, because you're talking really about life and balance and how to take that and integrate it. I mean, because that was a really big deal. And to actually move forward with that and still create the amazing business you have, and still be able to take care of him, and still be there for him, and try to be there for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank
So
you.
I hope that people see our story and go, wow, like regardless of what you're going through, that there is hope for everyone. And there, you never know when something's gonna open up for you. Like we were just going on, they said it'll be a 5 to 10 year wait. And to not know is very hard, especially. And there were many moments where he didn't want to live anymore, which is, I mean, I got it. I was like, I don't think I would want to either. When you're feeling so miserable all the time, no energy. And then I am just such a go getter. And I had a lot of patience and grace for him. But then there were times where I'm like, come on, chop, chop. Like, you still got to get up. You still got to do stuff. But it's, yeah, it's navigating all those things, just personality with relationships and all the nuances that are part of daily life when you're running a business.
So chop chop. I have a tendency to do chop chop. The people are like, come on, chop chop. Let's go.
I know, no time to waste. I don't know. Yeah, there. I think it was a blessing and a curse, but usually a blessing for sure. I think that was still helpful.
Thank you for sharing that, because you
Yeah,
just never know whose life you're going to impact. We don't know where people are.
yeah.
We don't know where they are in their life. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know what their family situation is.
Hmm.
And the fact that I'm going to put it to you this way, you're a survivor. He's a survivor, but you're a survivor as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Thank you.
that is when people don't realize it's the person who's taking care of that person or doing stuff for them. They are just as much going through the whole process as that person.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. So you talked about community. You said your church community
Hmm.
specifically.
Hmm.
So if you don't mind, from that perspective, because it overflows into business 100%,
Hmm.
do you mind talking about community and what it actually does for you? You can talk about it from a business perspective. You can talk about it from a perspective of what you talked about in the book, Unshakable. Either or both aspects. I'd love that.
Community is huge for me, and it always has been. So going back to my childhood, I would come home every day from school and either want somebody to like, Mom, can I have somebody come over? She'd say, well, no. Well, can I go to somebody else's house then? So I have always been incredibly social. And another fun example from my mom, which was at a church event actually with women. It was a brunch. We walked in, and as you often do when you walk into events, you're putting your name on a name tag. And I was so focused on the name tag, I really wasn't thinking. I mean, I was a young kid, and she just said to me, she had already staked out the room clearly as all this was happening, and she goes, "We're going to go sit at that table because I can see that woman isn't being included in the conversation, so we're going to go include her." And I never just, that was normal as a kid. But when I think about that, the legacy that my mom left me is always being aware of the people around you who is looking like they might not be included in conversation. And so I have always been very passionate about including people in my circle, making sure people feel welcome. And I would say that as a result of my love for people and connecting people, and I host lots of events at my house, which has also been a game changer just in the last year, hosting business events at my house, which I hadn't done before last October, to see people coming together and that I can create these spaces where people feel seen and heard and valued for who they are. And so to me, community is about knowing that you're not alone, that you are in the company of others that have similar things going on. Even if they don't relate immediately to your life, there are elements of everybody's humanity that people can relate to. And another example, I for 2 years I hosted a cohort of 6 to 8 women, and I put that on the shelf for a few years, but this morning I started a new group for 3 months. And today was also verifying how incredibly powerful it is when you get a room of people and someone shares vulnerably about their life, and then someone else says, oh my gosh, same with me. And oh my goodness, it's amazing how much we have in common, but we're in such different roles. And that sense of comfort around each other and a similar experience is what community is all about to me.
Oh, I love it. Just supporting one another. I love your mother's story.
Isn't that cool?
I see it at so many events that I go to, or sometimes I'm that person, to be honest with you. I'll sit there by myself, or I'll go, and then when I do that, I'll end up finding somebody else who's in that same situation. I go befriend them and do the same, reciprocate, and like they're really outgoing. It's just nobody communicated with them or really like clicked yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact you said that. That's
Oh, I'm glad.
amazing. So my question to you is, who are you going to see at your next event? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. Who are they going to see at their next event and they're going to be friends?
Yay! I love that challenge for all of us. Yes. Yes.
I'm sure you do it at every event because your mom instilled that in you.
Well, I'm not perfect for sure, but I do try to, I feel like, one of the things I used to teach a lot around networking skills, and people get so fixated on, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? It's all about I. But if we can be more focused on what can I do to make other people feel comfortable and be interested in others rather than being so worried about being interesting, then we can completely shift the landscape, because it gives us a mission to look for people. Okay, who might I need to draw out in conversation? I continue to be, and now I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, but I continue to be astonished at how few people actually ask questions and then create space to listen. Even women. I experienced this so many times, and it recently happened at an event where I was. It was a smaller event, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was thinking, sometimes I think, wow, if I surveyed this person afterward, or a neutral party surveyed us and said, how much do you know about Karen versus how much does Karen know about you? I'm usually able to share a lot about them, and they haven't asked me about me. Or if they have, it's maybe a shallow one question, and then they've moved on to themselves. So listen, ask questions, and listen, be curious about other people.
Yeah, I love the fact we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yes, exactly.
So I want to say this one thing. So I interview 120 people a year. Okay. And I will tell you now, you are one of the first people that have said this one thing to me while I was just chit-chatting with you in the very beginning. Guys, I'm going to tell you what the verbiage was she used that just touched my heart to no end. And she said, what can I do to support you? You guys just don't realize how that important that is to ask that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it really touched my heart. And so it's just something that, doesn't happen. The thing is if you ask that question, guys, even if that person is sitting there and you introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm here to help support other people. What can I do to support you?
It's such a simple question, isn't it? And yet we don't often intentionally think of saying it.
No, it's just thoughtful. It's kind. It's polite. And as long as you follow up and do it, that's the key. And she's the accountable one that's going to actually do what she says. I can tell you that now. So amazing. All right. So you've given them so much advice and wisdom. What about a woman who's sitting on the edge going, I really want to start something else? You were that woman. You had a full-time job and you really wanted to start something else, what would you
Mhm.
tell them? What advice?
I'm going to tell you my 3D formula: decide, declare, and deliver. And I'll share my story. So in September of 2019, I finally, after 2 years of feeling antsy at my job, finally decided what, and here's a good question for everybody. What would you want if you weren't afraid to want it? For
Ooh.
me, what would you want if you weren't afraid to want it? Such a powerful question. And I will tell you, that's what happened. I finally gave myself permission to go for what I really want. And I thought, why do I keep putting speaking on the back burner? And I decided first, September of 2019, that is what I was going to do. I committed to buying a training program. And then I bought this cute little microphone charm jewelry thing at a cute boutique store. And then declare is the step where you tell everybody. And for my case, I'm a keynote speaker. I'm a keynote speaker. I started telling everybody, and then the third step is to deliver, to do it. So it's a matter of actually taking the action that you need to do to move toward that goal. And what would that look like for you in this moment, whoever's listening? And I remember going back to my days in HR. I remember young in my career doing a team building thing where we hired a facilitator, and I was enamored with this woman. I thought, I want to do this. So I went up to her and I said, how do I do this? How do I do this? And she said the most unhelpful thing: just start. And as a 20 something, I'm like, what? And there is something when you realize, oh, this isn't something somebody's going to hand me or just give me an opportunity. We have to make opportunities of our own. And things like invite a few people over to your living room. I mean, clearly I'm talking about speaking. So, but whatever it is, whoever might be listening, whatever it is that you want to do, what would be the first step that you could act as if right now and do the thing now that you're wanting to decide and declare and then do? But the first step is deciding.
Wow. So I have a question for you. So is this going to be a book?
The 3Ds. I hadn't thought of it. My next book is about asking for you what you want. So maybe 3Ds will come down the road, but I do get a lot of good feedback on the 3Ds.
Do you do a speech topic on that? Do you speak on that topic yet?
I haven't so far. No.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's a
You
must.
just challenged me.
Yes, it's a must. And just so you know, this happens almost on every time when I talk to somebody, almost every time. We come up with a book title, a speech title. We come up with we always something comes up, just so you know.
Noted.
All right. What about a woman she's been in business for a while? She's just going through some stuff. You can answer this one really good. And she just don't know whether do I throw in the towel? Do I just give up? Do I pay the new way? What do I do?
You got to get connected with your why.
Hmm.
Because if you don't have a compelling reason to do something, you're probably not going to do it. So it's that getting in touch with what you really want, why it matters to you. And then the other thing that I learned through a few different people, but most recently, the guy who started Diary of a CEO podcast, which is if you are not willing to spend 10 years of your life going for a dream or a passion, holding out for that 10 years, diligently moving towards your goal, you're probably not going to stick with it. If you have to find a why that's compelling enough that during the hardest times, you're still going to keep going. So for my husband, it was getting the kidney, the expectation and hope that someday he would get a kidney transplant. We didn't know when that was going to come. And I'm trying to think what it was for me. I guess just different revenue goals, but I haven't had any like super like this until this year. Like this is what I want to make. But it's more for me, it's the reaching the 10 million women. That's what gets me up every day and reminding myself my passion along with my responsibility. I have a responsibility and a calling to reach as many women as possible so that we can have a better world of people expressing the truest version of themselves.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Wow. And the great thing is, everybody who's listening to this needs to know that what's their greatest, expectation of themselves even. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For them to be a part, they need to become a part of your world, don't they?
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's pull back that gorgeous velvet curtain in that theater. And
Oh,
let's find out what is a future sneak peek. Like, we already found some things. We already know you're having a big event in 2030.
yeah.
What else is happening between now and then that you see coming to?
Whew. Oh my goodness. I love this. Well, I definitely am excited. So I will declare speaking on the Spanx or Sneaks stage with CEO, well, yeah, the founder of both of those companies. That is a dream that has yet to come true for me. So that is a big one. The other one, it's so funny, Angel, because I'm so fixated on the 10 million that it's hard to even know, well, what's in between? But if I think about, well, I'll tell you a quick story. So earlier this year, I was thinking, gosh, this is going to be a really expensive event at the Chase Center. I am going to have to figure out how to make enough money to pay for this. And a woman who has hired me more than once for speaking and as event manager. She's the one that said, Karen, you're not going to pay for this. This is why we get sponsors. And she's the one that said, I have all the corporate sponsor relationships. Why don't you let me help you? And so if we go, that was very funny to me when it just, because I grew up as such a bootstrapper. Like you do it yourself. If you want anything done, you do it yourself. And this possibility of a whole world where people would want to sponsor and be excited about it and get ROI as a result. So that opened up a whole new thing for me of possibility. So my hope then in between now and then is that we would get sponsors now. They can write one check and be along for the ride for the 4 years leading up to the event.
Ooh, that one's really good. Okay. I'm excited for you. It's just a mind-blowing experience now, right? All right. Now, this next one, we're going into the fun world here. Something unexpected about you that my audience is going to go, oh my God, Karen did what?
Where do I start? So I will say the first thing is that I used to be a bus driver, 54 passenger bus and tractor trailer license. So this came from being part of a group I was performing in for 4 years called Up With People. The whole goal of the group was to break down cultural barriers and make the world a smaller place through community service, living with host families, and delivering a message that was international and helped break down cultural barriers. And so it was very international extravaganza. There were 150 people in each cast, and there were 5 casts traveling around the world at one time. So I actually performed with them the first year. Then I became a bus driver. Then I became a marketing and PR rep, they called them at the time, living in Germany and Switzerland and traveling in advance of the cast and helping with all of the logistics and selling of the tickets for the show.
Okay, that's way cool. Bus driver? Wait, singer, dancer. I think you told me you were a singer, dancer,
Yes,
bus
yes.
driver. I didn't know about the marketing and PR girl, too. Oh my
Yes,
God.
I left that part out. And when I was in Germany, when I was in college, I studied abroad in Vienna. And in November of 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, I was there. So
You were there?
I have pieces of the wall that I chiseled off myself.
And you kept them, and
Yep.
you still have them. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That
Fun,
is cool.
huh?
Mhm. All right, let's pump up the volume here with some music. Do you have a song or songs that you love?
Demi Lovato is Confident is the song, and that is my walk-on song on stage. So, what's wrong with being confident? Mm-hmm.
You make me want to jam here. Okay. Okay, and that goes so well with your message. I
Yes,
love that song for your message.
I love it too.
Love it. All right. What about books? Okay, tell me about your books first, and then tell me about books that you absolutely love.
Okay. My book is called Trust Your Own Voice. And it is a book that is my entire life's work on all the tips that I've learned and taught others at all these big companies around how to speak with confidence, from executive presence to your voice to difficult conversations to thinking on your feet to putting a message together to an elevator pitch, all of the things that we need on a day-to-day basis. And it's all about growing your influence through confident communication.
Wow.
The other book that I'm in, I mentioned before, Unshakable. That's one that I'm part of with my husband. And then the other one is called Invisible No More. And that is all about stepping into the spotlight. So those are the books that I have been a part of and love. And then the book I love most as far as reading is called Likeable Badass by Allison Forgale. And this is so fun because she and I have similar things that we teach on related to communication, but she has all the research, and it is so incredible how much she talks about just the research around how we show up and communication strategies to help us advance and all the things. So highly recommend. And she's an amazing human.
All right. And what about quotes or words to live by?
Every wall is a door.
Oh.
That is my favorite quote because you never know. It might look like a closed door, or might look like a wall, but it's actually a door if you push or you create your own door out of that wall.
Or if you at the Berlin Wall when it's going to come down.
That's true. I chiseled away. I didn't get that part of to a door, but that's a great one, H.
That was a good one. Okay. Fairy godmother comes down, taps you on your head, and gives you your superpower of your dreams for 24 hours. What would it be?
I would love to fly.
And what would you do when you were flying around? Where would you go? What would you do for 24 hours?
Well, I would fly in super flight, if that makes sense, so that I could go around the world. I would love to be able to see every continent from the air. And then so fly around very quickly, but then quickly to get there, and then kind of relax, look around, hover in the air without any fear of falling. One of my number one values, I would say, above all else, which is why I do the work I do, which is getting to, like, if we peel back all the layers of the onion, it's about freedom. And to me, flying is so freeing.
It is. It is. And I agree with you. What we do is freedom. And that's why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
All right. If you believe in motivation, great. Tell me about it and tell me what you do to get motivated. If you don't, just like, I don't believe in it.
That's a fascinating perspective to try on. If I didn't believe in motivation, that's something I might sit with that after this call. But I definitely believe in it because it goes back to, if we don't have a why or a compelling reason to do something, we probably won't do it. And so for me, it's about two things. It's the internal structure that we need to set up in ourselves, which are things like habits, systems, things like, what's his name? James Clear from Atomic Habits. He talks a lot about habit stacking. So things like, if you have a harder time adding a habit to your life, stack it with something else like brushing your teeth. So I started a couple of years ago, every morning, opening my shades, because I'm going to open my shades every morning. I might as well do something with that time. So I open my shades and I look out and I say, good morning, Jesus. Like, what's on the calendar today? Or, some version of that. And things where you can create those systems and then have the motivation, or let's say have the, I know, not defining motivation by motivation, but where you have the why that is so compelling to keep you going. Kind of like when I mentioned before about what keeps me going is having that why very intact.
Yeah. Your why is very much intact and it's very large, and I'm excited for it.
Yay, I can't wait.
I know. All right. What is the best way for our audience to stay connected with you?
Number one way is my website, which is KarenLaos.com, and that is KarenLaos.com. I have the book, as I mentioned, and I also have a podcast called Ignite Your Confidence for women in leadership who want to speak up and stand out. I'm in the places like Instagram and LinkedIn. Oh, and I have a freebie for everybody, a gift, which is 3 strategies to speak up in meetings. And if you go to my website, you can click on there. It's right on the top, and you can get that directly into your inbox.
So I would love an amazing mic drop moment from you, if you don't mind giving our female audience something that maybe we didn't talk about.
I keep coming back to always remember to trust your own voice, that you are more powerful than you might even think.
So with that, what I'd love you to do, if you don't mind, is span that beautiful view, because the voice that you had of knowing what you wanted, I just would love for you to share that gorgeous view with them. It is
I sure will.
beautiful.
This is it. We can even go outside.
That is so amazing.
We've got, it's the mountains and the bay and a nature preserve. I've got deer here. I always, in my vision for this, I knew that my goal was either to have nature or a city view, and it never occurred to me I could have both. So all those are lights, lots of twinkling lights at night there. And then I've got the trees in the foreground.
And so what you wanted, you spoke it into existence, and it's what happened. I love it. You wrote it down. You spoke it into
prayer, action, vision board.
It's the 3 Ds. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. Same thing.
All right, Karen, I absolutely loved having you on here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.